Hello, Jakarta and the world. This is Doug Johnson. I'm White Trash Talking. And as you can see, this is a new format for me. This is the first time I've shown my face. And I think many of you will agree that maybe I shouldn't show my face. But until now, I haven't really had the technology to do it. But I've been working with a company here in Jakarta called Mimpi Buruk Studios, and they've been very helpful and enabled me to assemble the equipment that I need and provided the space that I need. And so now I'm ready to take it to the next step. And hopefully this is a step that people want to see, maybe not, you know. I've tried to hide my face until now, but maybe it's just time. Okay, so with this new format, I plan to have a show once a week for now. That's about what my workflow will allow for, and I'm still learning the game. I'm going to invite guests remotely, and I'm not ready to do that yet, but I will be. And I have a lot of good plans for this show. So please help me out by giving it a like and subscribe. I need to start building subscribers. I don't have very many now, but I hope to increase that. And on a steady basis, I don't have to be super popular by any means, but I would like to reach more people. So I hope that you'll like it and subscribe. Okay, so today's episode actually continues on a theme that I've been covering for several weeks, a couple of months actually, which is the garbage situation in this area where I live in Depok in Indonesia. It's the outer perimeter of Jakarta, really. And I've shown you in my videos and my mini documentaries the problem here, which is, and I'll refresh your memory, the attitude towards garbage here is unique to Indonesia. And people just don't seem to react the way they would in the US, where I'm from. And it's bothersome because people will leave trash on the roadside. They will just fling trash out of their car. There's ad hoc garbage dumps on the side of the road everywhere. And as we discovered, my wife and I, they have illegal garbage dumps because their regular official garbage dumps have reached their capacity, and this is on a national level. So the garbage collectors are finding ways to get rid of the garbage cheaply, and they don't have to travel far because they're dumping it in neighborhoods where people live. And again, it's built on this tolerance of garbage because it wouldn't happen if people just rejected it outright. But we didn't know that garbage dump was there until my wife started smelling the garbage, and we started smelling smoke because they do burn it here and there. And then she talked to a friend, and we found out, yes, in fact, there's a big garbage dump there within walking distance. So she and I went there, and I want to show you some clips of the first time that we walked in there. Just let me show you. Okay. So this is me with my wife walking in. And it doesn't look so bad here, but do you see there's garbage on the ground? And as we go in further, we realize it's a whole community. It's a little village, a garbage village. And they put trash in the ground like this. And a family actually lives in this house where they have children, and garbage everywhere around. And it smells bad. Look at this. Garbage piled everywhere. And they don't mind it. And in fact, they fight to keep this lifestyle, which I will talk about. Look at this. The ground becomes the garbage. They don't distinguish between the ground and the garbage. And my wife explained that, well, this might be due to the fact that they never had plastic wrappers. Instead, they use banana leaves for all the food. They still do, and it works wonderfully, by the way. But they used to just throw the banana leaf on the ground because it's biodegradable. And now they throw the plastic on the ground. I don't know. I don't buy it. No. They're just insensitive to this catastrophe. Okay, so this is the first time I went in. I was just absolutely stunned. Okay, so shortly after my wife and I went there, neighbors were complaining about them burning the garbage and the smell. So we began to pay more attention. And neighbors started to meet, and they brought in an official from, law enforcement unit of the Ministry of Environment. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And they came and they took a sample. And from that sample, which obviously is contaminated, they shut down this facility, this little village. And they built a concrete wall across the road so trucks couldn't enter. And they closed it. Well, I've since learned that it's been closed and reopened 7 times over 9 years. So this is something that it is not going away. But in retaliation to them closing and these scientists coming in and taking samples, they began to burn the garbage as a protest. And let me show you some of these clips. So you see this mound, this huge wall of garbage that's on fire, this man tending to it. Smoke filled the sky, and it filled the neighborhood sky, and people were getting sick, and the neighbors were screaming about it. And they were doing this out of spite because they were angry. Meanwhile, other families living inside did leave, but many stayed. More than 20 families stayed, and they're fighting to stay there. Can you imagine wanting to live here? So you see this garbage burning, it's awful. This guy must be sick. I can't imagine. I went in without a mask and I got sick. Look at this. This is an environmental catastrophe. And it's otherwise beautiful land. And that's a middle-class neighborhood that it's affecting. This is right on the edge of a middle-class neighborhood. There's the gate. You can see bags of garbage piled up. Okay, so that's when they started burning the garbage. And in response to that, the community really got galvanized. And more people started meeting, sending messages to each other, and getting, worked up as they should. And so we attended a meeting. I'll show you that. And they invited a gentleman from the government, this man in the right, and he came to listen to the concerns. These are some of the community members that were lodging their complaints. Okay.
Dari Dewan kita tidak bisa memberikan solusi terbanyak, kita hanya bisa mengingatkan dan berkoordinasi dengan dinas-dinas tertentu.
Okay, there he's explaining that he can't do anything about the problem. He's going to pass the buck, and he's going to say, you have to look at this minister or that person, and he's not taking responsibility. He's not promising to do anything about it. Okay? So what happened next was we decided to go to the police. Now, before we went, I was warned, don't expect anything. The police are corrupt. They don't do anything. Maybe if you paid them money, they might do something. But the people running this garbage show are freemen. Freemen goes back to the 1960s as a term. They call them praymen, but it's derived from this word freemen. And it means they're free from the constraints of the law. They're just street thugs who enforce their own law. And they don't make a lot of money, but they make money for the people above them. And they're uneducated, they're dirty, they're unpleasant, and the police don't want to deal with them because they're outnumbered. The police are outnumbered, they're undertrained, they're underfunded. Let's take a look at our trip to the police station. Okay, here we are going inside, sitting down to talk with them. I tried to film. This is saying filming prohibited. They stopped me. Okay, if you see the 3 men in the middle, there's 5 men in that picture, but the 3 in the middle are police officers. And they don't look very official. The guy on the left, he looks like, I don't know, I won't say anything unkind, but the other 2, you know, I don't think they wanted to deal with a whole group of people complaining. But we convinced them to go out and look with us at this problem. They were kind of forced to do that. But of course, nothing came of it. They're not going to enforce the law. The police don't do that here. I don't know what they do here, but they don't do that. And maybe just accept bribes, I don't know. So with the burning fires now, it reached the news. Yeah, it was on TV. It was covered by independent media. People were screaming about it. And this is next to it is a middle-class neighborhood. These are educated people. I've met a number of them, and very smart, connected. You know, they were raising hell, and it reached the Minister of the Environment. And he's a newly appointed minister. His name is Hanif Faisal Nurofik, this Minister of the Environment, and he paid us a visit. This is a big deal. And normally I'm pretty critical of Indonesians when it comes to activism and engaging in democratic processes. And I'm just as critical about the U.S. This is not I'm not looking down on Indonesia. The U.S. has a whole host of problems, and I'll talk about those, believe me, in this show. But generally, the Indonesians are very compliant. They were ruled by a military dictatorship for over 30 years, and people disappeared if they complained, and the people are just conditioned not to raise too much hell. But in this case, you know, when you're breathing smoke and you're getting sick, people did raise hell. And so the Minister of the Environment took notice, and he came in an entourage, and I was impressed by that. Okay, so let me show you some images of that. And you see, people here are wearing red to show their national pride. And the person in white there is the minister. He just passed. These are the people from the community. I've met a number of them. Some are my friends now. They're very, very nice, very intelligent. I'm hopeful about Indonesia based on the younger generation. Really, they're very sharp, very aware, very knowledgeable. And here they're all heading into this garbage village. And some of them have never been inside, and they live one street adjacent. And they were shocked. Of course, you would be. This huge mound of garbage, and you can see it's all burnt garbage. You see that. That's been burning for a couple of weeks. The fire department had gone in and put it out. I forgot to mention that. And one fireman got very sick. He was hospitalized. And so they're gathering around. Look at this. Look at this environmental catastrophe. This is an unofficial site. This is someone's property next to a middle-class neighborhood. It's unbelievable. So people are gathering around. They're going to listen to the minister speak. There he is. He's being introduced. Okay. In a second, the sound will start. You can hear his voice. Okay. Sorry about the delay. There we go.
Ini merekayasa enggak, ini kondisinya seperti ini dan kami harus turun untuk bukan seperti ini. Jadi ini penyebab Pak 30% kita tidak bersih di Jakarta dan di sisi kerusakan.
And you here they're putting an official seal to close the site. This is the 7th time they've closed it, but hopefully this time it will stay closed. They're bringing enough attention to it. There he is posing with the people. Okay. So what the minister said to the people was that this is a national issue, these are legal sites, because on a national level, the official government garbage dump sites have reached their capacity, and they haven't found new places. So all over the place, they're doing this. And it's his commitment to put a stop to that. And he calls it as a 100-day program. They do that here in Indonesia. All the politicians have their first 100-day program. This is part of that. He's going to begin to look for alternative official sites and begin to clean up this mess. And I think it will take years, but I could be hopefully wrong about that. And he said that so Indonesia receives garbage from the West. The West ships their processed waste. Well, it's unprocessed, but they ship their waste and it's ready to be processed here, which means it will be recycled, repurposed, or disposed of. And the West properly prepares that for these purposes. And Indonesia receives it, and then they process it, they recycle it, and it's an industry here in Indonesia. They send it here from the West because it's cheaper to do it here, okay? But what the minister has promised is that they will stop receiving this from the West, as other countries have started to do, and Indonesia will process its own trash. And it means, starting from the household, people have to separate out the different kinds of plastic and the cardboard and this and that, and begin to learn how to do that. Garbage collection has to be orderly and dependable. Right now it's not. And the Indonesians have to have a higher standard so that the trash here, instead of sitting on the ground as you saw it, would all be going properly packaged to a recycling center. And there it's repurposed or it's disposed of properly. But here, you have families in this garbage dump picking through the garbage, finding bits and pieces of stuff that then they take to the recycler and so on. But a lot of it's just left in the ground, and it's catastrophe. Okay, so I will keep you up to date if there are any new developments. This is an important issue for me, but it's also for the world, certainly for all of Indonesia. And I'd also plan to cover political issues. I try to keep up on what's going on with the U.S. in regards to foreign policy, and sometimes it intersects with Indonesian foreign policy. So maybe touching on that. And again, I plan to have a show maybe once a week. Not maybe, that's my commitment, is once a week. So please, if you like this at all, please give it a like and subscribe. That would be wonderful for me. And I will stop there. Hopefully I'll see you next time, next week. Until then, I'm White Trash Talking. I'm Doug Johnson. Have a good week. Thank you.